Welcome to the Courage Over Comfort podcast. I'm Sheilla Dare. This is the podcast that's meant to inspire you to step into your courage and out of your comfort zone, because that's where we learn and grow and find out what we're truly capable of. It's outside the comfort zone where all the magic happens. In today's episode, we're talking about stepping into parenthood. My guest is Dale Chube, author of Oh Shit, I'm Going to Be a Dad. His book is a modern guide for new dads to help them prepare for fatherhood. It's a playbook that gives them the essential steps they need to take to walk confidently and consciously into fatherhood. Dale, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'm very excited for your new book, released a couple months ago. Oh Shit, I'm Going to Be a Dad. First off, love the title. I think it just grabs you, grabs you right when you see it. So let's start by telling us a little bit about your book.
Yeah, so the book, Oh Shit, I'm Going to Be a Dad, is the first of the series of dad books that are going to be released in the next few years. But this one was very dear to me. So I've been wanting to write a book for such a long time, and I just couldn't get it out. And I didn't know what to do, like how to structure it or any of those. And then what happened, my father passed. And that gave me a lot of clarity, because he was always telling me just to reach for my dreams, to keep moving forward, keep being my best self. And so I started doing a deep dive into his life and, different seasons, and seeing like what are the characteristics that really makes a good dad, and how can I create this for myself? And then it started to go like, what is like the true focus, and what is more important for every new dad to really like learn in the first few years of fatherhood? Like, how do you really create this moving forward? And so then I just started to write the book. And with that, a lot of my clients in the health and like nutrition space were actually becoming new dads. And so they started asking me questions. So then it started to be like a system. And I was like, okay, there's something to this. And I started teaching them a little bit of what I knew through my journey and what I've learned from other dads, and like really mixed it into a little bit of a gumbo pot. And I came up with the book and the systems, and it's just going on from there.
Yeah, I like how your book is, for men, how your book is a playbook. I think that speaks to men and how they would be receptive to it. And so you are a father. You have a 5-year-old son, correct?
Yep. 5-year-old Julian. Yep.
Yeah. So if you would have been given something like this when you found out you were going to be a father, how would that have helped you?
Oh my gosh. So I really credit my son to just giving me clarity in life. So when he came into this world, like it was a dark summer night, and we just did the whole pregnancy testing like multiple times. And I went out on a balcony. I'm looking dead at a church, and no lie, I had a beer in one hand and I had a cigarette in the other hand. And I was looking at the church, and I just said, God, make me a better man. And what happened from that day on is I truly decided that I was going to move forward and be better. And so he gave me the ultimate clarity. And that's what this playbook does. Like, a playbook gives you ultimate clarity to really win the game, and like in any sport. So I played football. My dad and most of my family played football. And I started thinking about, my uncle was a quarterback, and he was an offensive like genius as a coach and everything. And one of his greatest gifts to me, he gave me his playbook. So I was like, so if I had something that I can go back and forth to keep recreating plays and recreating different like systems to win the game, and no matter what level I'm at, that's what a playbook does. And so that's why I started with this book, and really focusing on what are the key plays that really run your life and in your dad journey, so you can recreate them and keep optimizing them every single level.
Yeah. So what are some of the major plays that you talk about in your book?
So some of the major plays, I really focus on 3 key areas. So in football, if you in football, the field is broken into three sections. You have the left, the center, and the right. And so that's the same as your life. You have your health, your money, your career, and your relationships. And so I focused on like what really matters in those three areas because we can get very tunnel vision towards one, especially as men. We do this a lot. And I did it, especially when I became a new dad. I wanted to make as much money as possible to provide for my family, to give them a great lifestyle. And I was strictly tunnel vision on my money. And I lost like the health, the relationships, and it was just, could not do it. And what that happens is like you just are just imbalanced. And really what you want in sports and also like in life, you want a balanced attack to really win the game. And so that's why I focus on three key areas and different plays and levels in each of those areas.
Yeah, that's very important to be well rounded in everything because I think a lot of men feel like they need to be the provider, and a lot of men spend so much time making sure their career is in check and making sure they're providing. And when they're, like you said, they have tunnel vision and they're only focused on that one aspect, other areas of their relationship, and especially when a new child is brought into the world, can get kind of like on the back burner. So having in your playbook teaching men how to be well-rounded in all aspects is so important.
Yeah, and men definitely we focus towards the money and really taking care of our family, and that is very key and very vital for us just to keep moving forward as men. But these other areas, especially now in this modern society, is very important. And it can make or break. It can make or break how much money we make or like what goes on in our lives. So I just looked at it. I was like, I have to be well balanced. I have to figure this out. And that's what every new dad needs to learn as soon as they find out they're going to be a dad is to be well balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so take me back to that moment when you found out you were going to be a dad. As you said, you realized that you wanted to be a better person. You had this child coming into the world. Were you, so I'm going to assume you weren't planning this, that this was a
No.
pleasant surprise, the happy surprise you never knew you wanted when you found out you were going to become a dad.
Right. 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 I'm in my late 20s and like yeah, it was a shock. And I just looked up and I was like, "Oh shit, this is like real. This is happening." And it always comes down to the oh shit moment. And that's when you like make or break. Either you're going to move forward and progress or you're just going to stay stagnant. And I decided to move forward. And that's what every new parent and especially every new dad needs to decide is like, hey, am I going to move forward or am I just going to stay right here?
Yeah, and a lot of men, well, I don't want to generalize. I will say a lot of women have that, oh shit, I'm going to be a mom moment as well. I could say for me, I also became a parent in my early 20s and it was not planned and I cannot imagine not being the mom to my son right now. Like it was the best joy of my life, but it wasn't planned. And so I also had that, oh shit, I'm going to be a mom moment. And if somebody would have handed me a playbook, oh, that probably would have helped me a whole lot way back then. Cause I had no idea what I was doing or what was going to happen.
Right. So actually with women, you guys have what to expect when expecting. And that play and that like big thick book, like I remember my former handed me that book and I was like, what do you want me to do with this? Like this is intimidating. This is But I knew I had a responsibility to change and evolve because she was growing every single day and my child is evolving and growing every single second of the day. And I really firmly believe that it's our responsibility as men, if we really want to take care of our families and be the best we could possibly be, we have to start right then and there. When you find out you are going to have a child, like you got the late text saying I'm late and I need to go to Target, wherever, to go get a pregnancy test, and you find out you're having a child. Right then and there, you need to decide that I'm going to grow with this child and evolve, and just like my partner and my child are changing, I need to change as well and to move forward. And that's what I think is like kind of like missing, because in today's society, during that time, we can't really do much. And so it's like I can't physically or like hold a child, but what can I do? And this is like the steps that you need to take. What in the book is what you need to do that's going to actually move that needle forward after D-Day, which is the delivery day, and actually, keep everything moving.
Yeah, because we were talking earlier about how women are preparing the whole 9 months to become a mother. Everything. It's the natural order of life. When a woman's creating a child, your body and everything is being prepared for that for 9 months, whereas the man doesn't get to experience that. And many men don't feel like a father until the birth, and they're actually place the child in their arms, and then they feel like they're a dad. So I really believe that your book will help men get on that journey and get aligned with their partner to be preparing together for those whole 9 months, because men and women are different. They see things different, they understand things differently. So your book really helps them connect and go on that journey together, but in their own masculine and feminine way.
Yeah, actually, I just did a little piece on this. If you think about it, like the quickest way from point A to point B is a straight line. And in your household with your partner, you have a straight line. And that bond, if you guys keep, getting closer, like there's a straight line. But when you're adding a child into your environment, now you have a triangle, right? But the goal is to get a straight line, to get the quickest point from point A to point B. So you need to come together as a unit. And in this book, you're going to figure out, how do I like do that? How do I do that when it comes to my health? How do I express like some of my money fears or all these frustrations, that maybe worries that I have that may pull us apart? How do I create that bond, moving forward, even after the delivery and all these different things? How do I do that? And to create more that bond and come closer together to make a straight line to your child and the stronger unit as a whole.
Yeah, right. What advice or what would you say to a man who's finds out that he's going to become a dad, but who may not be in a relationship with the mother and who isn't experiencing this journey with her because they're not together, and who thinks he can just figure it out when the baby comes? What would you say to that?
I would say you can't. I understand like the relationship with you and the mother is not great, but there has to be some type of a relationship. There has to be either a mutual amount of respect, or there has to be something. You have to try. And if hey, like it takes two. You're absolutely right. It takes two. If hey, my former or my ex-girlfriend doesn't want anything to do with me, that's perfectly fine. But you have to make that attempt, because you are going to be the example for that child in a lot of different relationships, no matter what. How you treat the mom, how you treat people around you is going to be very key and vital for that kid's development. So you need to make attempts. You can't just back out. And the child's going to make its own distinction later on in life. No matter what goes on in your parent journey, if you get divorced or whatever, the child is going to make its own distinction. It's going to make its own, like, hey, this is what happened, interpretation of what happened. And you just need to put out your best self, no matter what.
Yeah, and huh, your book helps with that. I feel like
Right.
I was asked, actually, I was talking with my son, telling him about the interview that I was going to do with you, and he's 23 and he's not a parent yet. And he was asking me, Mom, why would a man need something like this? I feel like I'm ready. If when the baby comes, I would be fine. I'm ready. I'm like, are you? Are you really?
Oh, so actually, he's a person I actually wrote the book for. So I have a large family. I'm the youngest out of 12, and I have a lot of nieces and nephews. And so when me and my former broke up, I looked at my all my brothers, and I looked at my dad, and I was like, hmm, 4 out of 5 of us are divorced or split. That's an alarming percentage to me. And then I put my nephews in a line, and I have like 5 nephews. Actually, I have more, but I have 5 nephews that are around that age. And I like looked at it, I'm like, "So you're telling me this is what it's gonna be?" I'm like, "No, no, no, no. This has gotta change. This has gotta change now because there has to be something different." And during that moment when you find out, like, yeah, your son's like, "Yeah," I find out like, uh, I'm just gonna react. I'm just gonna react to things happen. And in the business world and just life in general, if you react, you're always like a few steps behind. You're always trying to play catch up. And right now, this is what I call strategic planning on how you want to show up in your dad journey. And that's what actually creates a legacy is not taking whatever comes to you and just reacting. It's strategically showing up to life.
Yeah, I love that because it's absolutely true. And I mean, if you're a student, you wouldn't go into a final exam without preparing and studying for it. And I feel like becoming a first time parent is the biggest test you're ever going to have in your entire life. And a child changes everything. And what you think is going to happen or how you think it's going to be, it always is throwing in curveballs for you. And it's
Right.
always going to challenge you. And being a first time parent is the biggest test to getting out of your comfort zone and stepping into courage. And
Yes.
yeah, my goodness. Well, as we're both parents and any other parents listening to this, you can all relate to that statement that it's never what you think it's going to be. So, being prepared going in is the best way to set yourself up for success and to decide how you want to show up, how you want to be when that baby arrives, and then prepare for it throughout the months while you have that time to really get ready is only going to set you up to be in the best position possible when that baby comes.
Yeah, Mike Tyson has this like quote like everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And when you hear that, you're like, oh, like you can't make plans. Like you're talking about planning for like parenthood. I'm like, no, I'm talking about planning how you show up to that punch because that's what really Mike Tyson was talking about. So if he's like, all right, if you don't plan, if you're going to get punched in the mouth, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. What's the point of training? You think Mike Tyson didn't train because he trained to get ready for punch and to be able to show up to that punch a little differently and how I'm going to slip and move from a punch all these different things that he was working towards that was his goal. So that's what this is being able to get your mind, your really what's important to you, creating the dad that you want to be, to really show up to those punches in life and be like, all right, I'm gonna slip and move, or I'm gonna take this punch and then keep moving forward. However that is, this you need to prepare and really strategically do that.
Very well said. What were some of as you were planning to become a father before your son was born, what were some of the things that you realized that you needed to change and that you really implemented, or things that you overcame during those 9 months while you were preparing?
When I found out I was going to have a son, I quit smoking and quit smoking like cigarettes completely. I was doing that off and on through ever since I was like 15 and just off and on. Never could really like kick the habit and just be like, oh, I'm done. And ever since then, when I found out, like, they're like, hey, that's a boy. And I was like, really? You sure? They're like, yeah, that's a boy. I'm like, all right. I was like, I'm done. And I haven't smoked since. So from that day on, I focused on my health. I was like, all right, I need energy and need to be able to run around with this kid and do all these like lively dad things and just do that. So I focused on my health. I got it the best shape possible and just was really health conscious, got with nutrition, like what I've put into my body. And I just went full steam ahead into that because usually for me, when I need clarity, I go back to fitness and challenging myself somewhere in the fitness and nutrition space to get that clarity. And that's what I did. And so from there, it was just kind of a domino effect in the different areas of my life that to really be the best I can be for my child.
Children need us to be at our best in all areas of our life, and especially health, because you have to, when you have a little one, you have to keep up. When they start
Right.
running, oh, let me tell you, my son used to run faster than me at 3 years old with these tiny little legs. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's superhuman. But no, they just have an abundance of energy, and you, yeah, you have to keep up. So congratulations on quitting smoking. That's a big deal. and
Thank
taking
you.
control of your health. I mean, I know at the moment listeners can't see you, but when they find you on social media and your website, they will see you are like the poster man for health. You're you're you've got that under control for sure. So Dale, tell us some of the methods that you implement or that you I don't I'm is this discussed in your book, your dad method?
So actually, the dad method is not discussed in the book.
Oh, then
So the dad
please
method,
tell us about it because I really love
okay.
this method. So please tell us about it.
So a coach of mine challenged me. He was like, "So what is it to me? What is like your framework? What did you do to like really like move forward with your life and like just this method like in like when you became a dad?" And I was like, honestly, it was like a dad method. First, I decided that I was going to move forward. I analyzed what I was good at and what I was not good at, and then I developed. Plain and simple. So that's actually the main framework what I do my whole life. I decided what direction I'm going to go. I analyze the good and the bad and then develop. So when it came to my health, I decided I was going to make this change. I decided. I analyzed what was good and what was bad. So what was good, like I used fitness to really get strong and get some energy. What was bad, I was smoking all the time. I was smoking almost like a pack a day. So now I need to put the action steps to make this happen, right? To move forward in that direction. So I tried, quit cold turkey. I tried this. I did this instead of this. I scheduled my workouts. I focused more on nutrition, starting from breakfast on. Like I started putting the steps in place to really make that happen. So if you're focusing on the three key areas that are actually in the book, where you have health, relationships, and your money, you got to decide, first of all, no matter what, decide that you're going to move forward, analyze. And this is like, can be very simple, like, hey, what's good and bad? Or you can get really, really precise in analyzing it to the T, what's good or bad, or what do I need to do here? And then develop and put together your plan to move forward.
Yeah, I think that is such a strategic plan, that DAD, your dad method, because that can roll over to any area of your life, not just trying to become the best you can be when you're finding you're going to be a new parent. But everything starts first with the decision. And then
Hmm.
once you make that decision to analyze how and why and what you're going to do then to move into the develop, it's so awesome. DAD.
And you have to do all three. Most people are like, all right, I'm gonna decide and then develop, right? And what happens is you just stay on a hamster wheel because you're not analyzing anything. You're not seeing like what's the good and the bad. You're just going and doing action, doing action. You decide, do action, decide and do action, and you're just on a wheel, like this hamster wheel. And then you have like decide and analyze, which is the overthinking. And that's where you're like, all right, I'm gonna move forward, but let me make sure I get everything in place and like really, all right, I gotta do this, analyze this, analyze this, analyze this. But then there's no action to move you forward. And then you're like, all right, I'm gonna decide to do this, and then you're just analyzing. Decide to do this, and then just analyze. Instead of really progressing and moving forward in that area that you want to like succeed at. So with
Yeah, all three.
yeah, it has to be all three, and that will give you momentum to move forward in whatever area you decide.
Yeah, because I feel like once you decide and you analyze, like you said, you have to take action and develop. And I think between the analyze and develop step in that space is where you need to step into your courage to actually move forward and take that action to implement your plan.
Exactly, exactly. That's why it's so key to really decide and do all these steps that will actually just strengthen your courage muscle and keep going and keep getting better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that method. Thank you so much for sharing. I also heard you speak about creating your dad hero, and I loved this idea as well. Can you explain the method of creating your dad hero?
Yeah. So when you become a new parent, I think is when you're the most judgmental of your of your parents. It's like at an all-time height. You start looking at everything they did, thinking of it in a critical way, like, oh, you did this, you did this, you did that, or this. And when I learned I was going to become a dad, I had a hard conversation with my pops. and we had a talk. And that first talk, I was like, this dude is an asshole. I was super critical. I'm like, this dude's a jerk. I can't believe this. But then, like, over time, I started to really appreciate everything. But when it comes to the dad hero, I started thinking of like all the dad influencers in my life, right? So there is my best friend, Brett McDermott, his brother. Actually, I'll put a little plug in. He's running for Congress 2020. But his family, his dad he is my dad. I've known him since I was 9 years old. He is my father. I've been around him for so long and so many years. And there was a lot of great qualities that I saw in him and what he would display with his family that I wanted to create on my own. And so what I tell a lot of new dads when they just hear they're about to become dads is like, hey, why don't you, first of all, you need to like just reflect and look at your dad and just be honest with yourself. There's going to be some stuff you're like, hey, there's some things I hate about this, and there's some things that are going to be amazing. And if it's all hate, then write that down and then just keep it moving from there. But also think about those dad influencers and what do you really like? That could be another dad. That could be a coach. That can be anyone in your life, male presence that really was like a dad to you that you would consider like this guy really is emulates a dad, or it could be a pastor, whoever that is for you. Write down all the great qualities they have and really start to sketch out your dad hero, because every superhero starts with a one simple sketch. And that's all the qualities that you see in all these different men and people around you. You start sketching it out. You start listing all these qualities, what you like, and really start really getting down and fine tuning it. Like, what are those values? What do you like? What do you don't like? What do you like? And continue to do it over and over and over again in every single level in your dad journey, and continue to just make your dad hero from there.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned to write down the qualities and then to seek your superpower. What is your unique skill set and power? And then to
Yeah.
narrow down the three qualities that mean the most to you, and that those are the three to focus on when
hmm
creating your own dad hero.
Yeah, because there's going like you're gonna list out a whole bunch of things, especially if you have a couple men in your life that have been very influential. There's gonna be qualities. I had like maybe like 50 or 60. There was all these different things, especially I had, my dad, I had my friend Brett, his dad, Mr. McDermott, senior. I had him. I had a couple of my brothers too, like qualities they had. I looked at them as well as dads, because those were another example. I looked at my dad's best friend and how he was with me and how he displayed affection to his family. I had all these different men that, like, throughout my years, I was like, these guys have shown me what it is to be a dad in their own unique way. And I respect every single one of them, the good and the bad. So, what is it? What can I take from it? How can I make this my own? And what's unique to me? What sets me different? And everyone has it. Everyone has something like that superpower that's in them that just needs to be unleashed. Unleash the power within from from Tony. So
Yeah.
it's that's what it is. And I started like really breaking it down. How do I want to show up in this level of my dad journey?
That's so perfect, because actually sitting down and brainstorming and realizing all of the great qualities that you've learned from these men along the way can just really help put it in perspective, especially when you're preparing to become a new father, and what kind of person you want to be, like we spoke about earlier, how you want to show up in this new role as a parent and as father, and sitting down and getting clarity on it and designing your superhero, how you want to be for your new little boy or girl. It's just awesome. Being able to do that, it's just still moving forward with so much clarity. I really love that concept.
Yeah, and moms, like if there's moms listening, you can do the same exact thing. And if you guys do it together, really, I mean, how powerful is that? You guys are all both on the same page. You know how you guys want to show up. You can keep each other accountable, and really, I think that would be just a amazing like duo. Right?
Right. Yeah, like The Incredibles, the only Disney movie that I know that the mom and dad is still alive and forming a united front and crushing it as parents.
Incredibles. My son was obsessed with that. Like Incredibles. He still is.
I still love
Right,
that movie.
Jack?
It's one of my favorite Disney movies.
It
Just
is.
because they
It's a
provide
classic.
such a united front, and I love that. So, okay, Dale, are there any other tips that you want to give new dads
Is there
while
any
you
other
have
tips?
the mic?
While I have the mic, you are here for a reason. No matter where you think you are in your life or how you are judging yourself. Like I was working door-to-door sales at the time, flat broke, didn't have any like money, didn't know what I was gonna do. And I just created just my best self and continue to do that. So no matter where you are right now, just firmly believe that you are here for a reason and you are becoming a dad right now because your higher power told you to and gave you that gift. So with that, it is your mission and your duty as men on this earth to really become the best version of you. And you need to start doing that right now.
Very well said. So, Dale, how has becoming a dad changed you?
It's made me more focused. It's made me more loving, more joyful. It's definitely made me very fun and exciting because my son brings the creative part of me all the time. And it's just making me a better man every single second of the day. I wouldn't be here for if it wasn't for my son. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my former partner bringing him into this world. And I'm just very appreciative of everything that I've had an opportunity to do. And it's all because of him and it's all for him too. So he has just changed me in so many ways. He will never know how much he'll listen to this later on. He always does. And he just doesn't know how much he's impacted my life and how grateful I am for him. So,
Not yet, but he will. Yes. And
yeah.
because of everything that he's taught you and all of the experiences you've been through, you're able to now take that and help so many others achieve the level of personal development that they want to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What legacy do you want to leave your son?
Legacy is that I want to leave my son. The legacy, his snapshot of me, of my life is progression and happiness. So I want him to know that my legacy is all about progression, no matter where I'm at in my life, to try to focus on progressing and getting better. And that is the true perfection of life, is just progression.
Yeah,
So some people think legacy is money. Legacy is, or how you make people feel. Legacy is someone else's snapshot of your life. So it's how you made them feel, or maybe how, whatever that is, it's someone else's snapshot. So just continue to be your best self and then let others tell your story through their snapshot, their photos of your life.
perfect. Dale, you're helping so many people move forward in their lives by shifting their mindset. And I'm so grateful for having you on the show today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So if you'd like to connect with Dale, you can visit his website at dalechube.com. You can also find him on Facebook and Instagram at Dale Chube. His book, Oh Shit, I'm Going to Be a Dad, is available on Amazon, but for a limited time, while he still has copies available, you could go to his website and get a copy of his book for free. All you have to do is pay for shipping. And if you'd like to listen to more tips on fatherhood, check out his podcast, Oh Shit, I'm Going to Be a Dad, available on all your favorite listening devices. His new season will be coming out very soon. So thank you so much for listening. If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with anyone else you think might enjoy it as well. I'm Sheilla Dare, and I encourage you to live outside your comfort zone. Until next time.